Right, so after maybe a year, more or less, this is the second magazine video that I'm doing for this channel. And in this case, this is Atari World from September 1995. This is an interesting magazine because I bought it really as a novelty. Even back then, ST format I think had finished, and I don't think I even had an ST. I think I got rid of it way before then. I sold it. I didn't tip it. And I just thought it was interesting to read about what was happening in the Atari world, because I still had my Jaguar, but I think the ST changed a little bit because it wasn't really kind of devised as a games machine. It was meant to be a cheaper Apple clone, and I think when the Amiga came around, the emphasis on games was a lot stronger, and it didn't really compete that well against the Amiga. I think there were a handful of games that were better, maybe more than a handful, that were better on the ST, but by and large the Amiga tended to have the edge. But after the games scene kind of died off, I think the Atari really went back to what its core strengths were, which were music and really just trying to be like a desktop computer. So let's get into this. System solutions. So you'll see a few adverts in this for kind of shops trying to sell different products and marvel at the prices. Yeah. Right, content. So what have we got here? We've got the Jaguar, quite strongly emphasised in this magazine, with the VR headset which never made the light of day. Doom on the Jag. That seems quite late. I'm sure that came out in '94. Maybe it didn't. And a lot of kind of photography and 24-bit colour and all that good stuff that we take for granted. So, new Jaguar games. So there was a recent open day and 13 cartridges and 8 CD titles. So what have we got here? Attack of the Mutant Penguins, Fight for Life, 05, which was ported from the Falcon. I didn't know that. So yeah, those would have been probably the last games to come out on the machine. Games galore. I can't remember what this one was called now. Where's the name? When you want to find it, you can't. This was like an Alien Breed clone. There's Super Stereo Land. I think I played that on a demo disc once. Alien Thing, that's what this was called. It was almost like an Atari version of Alien Breed. Never played that. I really should at some point. So Jaguar, yeah, that would be Pong. I think, was that Golf? I think that got renamed to Checkered Flag. Substation. I played this on a magazine disc. I think this was probably, well, maybe I still had the Atari ST at this point, because I remember playing that. Yeah, maybe I did have it. I don't think I had it much longer than this though. Yeah, Substation. That was a bit like Wolfenstein, but without the textures. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Reader disc, so cover disc. Yeah, I don't recall this coming with a cover disc. It must have. Yeah, so these are more desktop software. So you've got text analyzer, OCR, so text recognition. Yeah. Ladbrokes Computing. So you can get this 353 megabyte enclosure for $269.99. And at this point we were really with the PC in the era of, Doom had been out a while, and I think we were getting fairly close to the point of having 1 gigabyte drives. There probably is one in here somewhere. So I think it's interesting to compare the prices of what was at the end of the 16-bit computer generation and really the dawn of the Pentium era, when prices really start to come down. Yeah. Glide Point. So these are your like mini tablets, as they used to be called. Looks like it's with serial ports, letters. Diamond Edge, what's that? Oh, disk management. So yeah, a lot of desktop utility software, which for PC usage is really important, and particularly if you're using tools like not tools, operating systems like GNU Linux. Got to get that one right. These sort of utilities are really useful, and even on the Amiga now, you get Aminet full of software that people have written. So it's all good, even though it might not be to everyone's taste. Zool 2, that was a good port on the Jaguar. It wasn't really any improvement. It was really just the... Was it an AGA game on the Amiga? I can't remember. I know the first game had an AGA version on the Amiga 1200, but I don't remember if Zool 2 was. Take a swig of coffee. Super Stereo Land. Yeah. I don't recall playing that. Maybe I played it on a demo. Don't know. It might have been later, in years later, or maybe I played it on an emulator. Hover Bother. Never played it. It looks like a 3D style game, a bit like, graphics like Midwinter. So what can you get? T-board. Oh yeah, you can get your TOS BIOS firmware upgrade for the STE, so you can switch it over. Yeah, I had the STE, and it had, which one was it? It was 1.62 that was really glitchy, and a lot of games would just crash. Memory, upgrading an STE, which I did. I upgraded my ST to 1 MB to play Street Fighter 2, which I thought was really good at the time. So Jaguar stuff, CD unit, which came out. I got one of those quite cheap. I was really fortunate. I got it about 50 quid in a cash converters, probably about 12 years ago. The VR headset, Silent Soldier AVP. That would have been, AVP would have been brilliant with a VR headset. There was meant to be a sequel, I think, coming out, but it never did. So these are the brave new world of 32-bit consoles. Oh, interesting. It talks about the M2, which was meant to be, I think it was an add-on originally to the 3DO rather than a new console, but it never came out. One of the big games was D2, which got a Dreamcast release. But yeah, so you can see really that the Jaguar didn't compete against what was coming around the corner with the, I call it almost like the proper 32-bit era, rather than this middle ground between the the Mega Drive, SNES and the PlayStation, with things like the 3DO and the Jaguar and the CDI, the Amiga CD32. They were trying to forge a new way, so I think they deserve a lot of respect from that. But I think once the PlayStation was out, it wiped the floor. Theme Park, that's really good on the Jaguar. It's a bit frustrating because you can only save it once you've sold a park. Hover Strike, this is a really good game, and I would say this is the reason to get the Jaguar CD, because the CD version's got a few more levels, but I think the developers were able to optimize the usage of the hardware a bit more, because it did things like bilinear filtering. So I've got a video of that on my channel from probably about 18 months ago, if you want to see it. It's a good game. Frame rate's not amazing, but it's pretty impressive. Say Cheese, so this must be video capture. Doesn't show the hardware. Oh, Falcon, not the ST. I remember the ST used to have these add-ons that went in the port on the side, but it was grainy and black and white. It wasn't great, but that's probably just the CPU limitation. The Falcon was a really nice machine, and it was almost like Atari's answer to the Amiga 1200 with the AGA chipset. I think it was just unfortunate. It was the end of the machine's lifespan, and they're quite hard to get hold of. But there are people that sold new CPUs in, and there is quite a scene still around even now. Doom, that would have been the Jaguar. I don't know if the Falcon was powerful enough to do this. Yeah, I like that. Other options, this Substation game on the ST. Doesn't really compete, but it's better that than nothing. Enter the Dragon, didn't really like this game. I think graphically it looked quite nice, but it felt really rough. It was almost like the port had been done really fast. I've only ever played the Jaguar one. Although it was on the SNES and Mega Drive, I think. What's this? Protext. So is this a word processor? Command line editing. Thesaurus. Looks like Emacs. Or VI. Take your pick. Yeah, probably one of those style applications, if not a port. Substation, so it got 8 out of 10. So it looks like it's using, it's raycasting, but using this flat shaded style. And there was a game on the Mega Drive. Was it Cybercorp? I forget the name of it, but that had a similar graphic style. So you've got an FPS, but I mean, even on the Mega Drive, games like Zero Tolerance and Bloodshot eventually did texture mapping. So I'm surprised that the ST didn't manage that, because it's got a similar CPU. Never mind the language. What's this? Command line friendly. It's a shell, Lark shell. Oh, it's a shell. Okay. Subscribe to Atari World. Yeah, I don't think there were many more issues after this. That probably wasn't a good investment. Time work tips. Don't know what that is. Is it some project management software? Maybe. GDOS. Word processing. So you can see there's really an emphasis here on using the Atari ST as a personal computer, as a business machine rather than just a games machine. Scaling the vector height, so this would be vector fonts, true type fonts and all that stuff. Atari World, yeah, just another advert, spaced out. What's this? Another word processor? Typography. So this must be desktop publishing on the ST, which, you know, the Mac had. Was it Quark Express, which was the killer application on the Mac? So this would have been something similar for the ST. More typography. So you can see here there really is a thing that's setting up for what we've got here. CD-ROM, you know, having lots of fonts and clip art and things is quite useful. So what have we got on CD? Space Shuttle Encyclopedia, Shareware, First Falcon. So these are a lot of kind of almost like shovelware. They would have been downloaded from BBS systems. Interesting to see LaTeX. It says text, but it's LaTeX. It's like a typesetting application which is used for a lot of scientific papers and things like that, which is still really popular now. I didn't realise it was on the ST back then. So got to get this right. They're GIFs, aren't they? Not GIFs. Oh, we all know what they are. And they're out of patent as well. Project Gutenberg. Yeah. Linux. 68K. Yeah, this would have been a really early version of Linux. I think it came out, was it 92? The early versions? And it wasn't always x86. So yeah, interesting. I've tried it on the Amiga and it works quite well, but I've never tried an ST version. So I've got Aisha 3 and Robinson's Requiem. Yeah, I think they were ports of the PC games. Magic Mac. This is interesting. So this is your emulation. It's almost like, well, yeah, like WinUAE, or it would maybe it was more like Parallels on a Mac. So it's not necessarily emulating the CPU. There was something similar on the Amiga, which was Sheep Shaver, or was it Shapeshifter? I think one was a modification of the other one, but yeah, so you can run your Mac applications on your ST, which is really good. Language barrier. What's this? Oh, yeah, this is your glossary of terms. Modulator, mouse, Mint, which is OS, and VRAM. I thought that was a Mac thing. Yeah, modulator, RAM disk. Yeah, I didn't know the ST had a RAM disk. I know the Amiga did. CD-ROM. Yeah, so this would have been... Oh, it's a Mac one. CD300. And it's supported on the ST. Interesting that it uses a caddy. I've only ever seen one drive that did that, and that would have been around the same time. So yeah, you got your disc with your caddy. I don't know why they did that, because I mean, even the Mega CD just used a tray. Maybe it was a concern that they'd get scratched or something. Don't know. So you get your modems. What speed are we at now? 14.4. Get your TOS upgrade, memory upgrade, parts, monitor. Yeah, interesting. You get sound on that one. A lot of ST monitors were black and white because of the high resolution mode, which is not really very good for photos. So CD-ROM roundup. ST power, public domain shareware, more shareware, publisher source background kit. So there's probably clip art. So back to your GIFs and your JPEGs. I assume the ST would decode JPEGs. Yeah, photos, clip art, public domain stuff. It's amazing that you have to buy this. I think that's worth it, Project Gutenberg. So that is like an online library of text. Hollywood Hustler, what's this? Gambling? Looks like it. Never heard of that one. Gemulator. Mega ST emulator for Windows. So this looks like Windows 3.1 with Program Manager. So yeah, so you can buy an ST emulator. This was before you got software like Winston, which came around a few years later. Photo finish, 24-bit color. This must be the Falcon, because I don't see how this would work on the ST without an additional bit of hardware, because it talks about the color bits. So yeah, I can 16 color. That's not great for photos. So this must be Falcon. Yeah, Diamond Edge ships. Don't know what that is. Is it a defragging tool? Looks like it from the diagram. Hard drives. Oh, you can get 1 gig, $299. That was probably quite good value then. Yeah, so you can get your external enclosure, because you can't fit those in an ST. What's this? Mapping software? Maybe. Not sure about that one. Back issues. Naughty pictures on the interweb, even back then. That's this issue. It's quite surprising, really, that at this point they're only up to issue 5. So this would have come out probably February, maybe March 1995 rather. Sequencing. Yeah, this is what the ST was popular for. Yeah, I really would have liked a Falcon. I do like the idea of using an ST for music, but I never really got round to it. Librarian. What are these? Are these patch sounds or something? MIDI on request? Must be different sounds. Public Arena, OCR. Yeah, I think there's not that much left in this magazine, which is probably a really bad thing to say, because you'll all switch the video off now. But text analyzer, yeah, open source stuff, image converters, some free games. Web, interesting. HTML browser. I knew that you could use the ST with a BBS, because they were doing that on the C64 and that, the Apple machines, the Apple II. But I didn't realise there was a web browser for the ST. It talks about Netscape, but that looks like Windows 3.1. Interesting. More shareware. Falcon Owners Club. Q&A. Yeah, I think this is where the magazine runs out of steam. Falcon video digitizer. So this would be full colour. It's PAL or NTSC. What resolution? So that's not bad. 768 by 576. That's widescreen, isn't it? That's widescreen PAL. And if that could be up to 25 frames a second, that's pretty good. But you need a decent hard disk to store all that. Yeah, interesting stuff. Zip disks, CD-ROM. Yeah, I think the ST at this point wasn't really much longer for this world, because I think it was really just becoming a PC, and given that PCs were about to drop in price quite quickly, there didn't seem to be much need for the old ST. And I think at this point even the Mac was suffering quite a bit, and Commodore had gone bust, so the Amiga had become a cult machine as it is now. So yeah, I'll have to see if there are any more issues of this around. I've never really heard of this magazine before, and since I just saw it in a newsagent one day and bought it. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm not sure this was as exciting as I thought it would be, but I think it's nice just to look back at some of these old machines and see what they became after they stopped becoming popular games machines. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and if I manage to find another one of these magazines, I'll do another video.